Hello! 3 cards revealed for the Boomsday expansion. Let's get right into them. First up is Celestial Emissary, 2 mana 2/1 elemental for mage with the Battlecry. Your next spell this turn has +2 spell damage. Okay, now we're talking. It seems Blizzard's pushing some spell damage cards, and this one is pretty good. Obviously, the stats aren't great, but it's cheap, and for an elemental deck, just playing an elemental is added value. Shimmering Tempest is an iffy card, and while its death rattle is likely more powerful, Celestial Emissary's effect is immediate. And it's this cheap cost plus spell damage Battlecry that can lend itself to see play in a bunch of different decks. Control could use this for board clears, aggro for damage to face, and you can even use it with the card released yesterday, Unexpected Results. For a total of 6 mana, you can get a 2/1 and 2 4-cost minions out on the board. That's a play that I would make. Now, there's not enough spell damage focused cards to make an entire deck, but it will be interesting to see if Celestial Emissary ends up helping out any of these other decks. Up next is Cloning Device, 2 mana priest spell where you discover a copy of a minion in your opponent's deck. Yeah, it's kind of cool. You can see a few minions your opponent is playing, and those that they haven't drawn yet, and for memes, this gives you the chance to play some cards across classes, but it's a really slow card, basically spending 2 mana just to discover a minion and a few minuscule benefits. I'll try it out in a Steel Priest deck, but Cloning Device isn't seeing any competitive play. And last up is Giggling Inventor, 5 mana 2/1 neutral that summons 2 1/2 mechs with Taunt and Divine Shield, so basically 2 Annoyatrons. With this card, you're getting 4/5 stats out on the board, plus the Taunt and Divine Shield, and those are important because not only does it protect your 2/1, but the Divine Shield also means these 2 minions have to be damaged twice. For such poor stat lines, this is an incredibly sticky board. The best counter to this card is a cheap board clear, but not all decks have those, so if your opponent ends up wasting an expensive board clear on these minions, it's just dumb, and if they have to trade against these minions, then it's going to be a headache. The idea with this card is that you want mechs to survive out on the board, so you can magnetize them the following turn. And if a mech still has Divine Shield, that's a bonus. Once again, the stat line of this card makes it very troubling. Enemy minions can trade into 1/2s with little punishment, and the high cost makes it harder to combo with buffs or magnetic cards right away. I think if you can stay equal with your opponent on the board, and put this out there when your opponent doesn't have enough minions declared, the mechs could survive, giving you targets to magnetize. The card's playability is completely tied to whether or not magnetic cards see play, and if they do, this is still a weak option in terms of stats. It's just the mech synergy might still make this be worth playing. Maybe I'm just in a good mood, but I think there's a small chance that Giggling Inventor could see play. That is all the cards for now. Another card and video is coming out in about an hour, but until then, ta-ta.